Okay, so I'm Mark Fledderjohann, and I've worked on 15 projects. Not all of them have been certified. Some of them are still in process, and some of them never came fully to fruition. Different things happen with different projects. But I've worked all the way from version 2 through now version 2009. I haven't done any V4, which is the current version of LEED that's out right now. I pulled up LEED online for the project that we'll be doing. This is a project that is here in the county. It's up on Riddenbaugh Street in the north end, so you could drive by. It's a residential neighborhood, and it's a paramedic station that they're remodeling. The studs are up, but most of the rest of the building was stripped clean, and they're starting over on it. And they're about 50% of the way through rough-in on plumbing. So we've done a lot of the submittals and things like that, but I haven't loaded any of that up to LEED online. Some of the stuff I've already had to approve and go through that way. But I'll take you through the whole process of kind of filtering out the greenwashing with the submittals. And what I'd like to do actually is start with the eco charrette and probably bring in Doug Cooper, McKibben and Cooper, the architects on this project, bring in Doug Cooper and some of his consultants to talk about their different aspects when we went through the eco charrette, so that you can kind of get an idea of what they do and how they do their evaluations. Hi. We just got started, so you didn't really miss anything. I'm just explaining who I am and kind of what the project is. So what I have up here is LEED Online. It's where you actually do the documentation for the US GBC, or for the Green Building Certification Institute, actually. And these are the actual credit categories and the score sheet. I have if you haven't seen it here, I have the LEED reference guide, which is the Bible for kind of going through the project, if you want to take a look at that. And then this is a sheet actually that we developed for the project here. And those credits are the same credits that we'll see up here in LEED Online. So obviously the eco charrette is already done, but what I thought I'd do is, for our first session, is bring, like I said, the consultants and the architect in to actually talk about their piece and what my piece is. And we might be able to get one of the owners, probably Selena O'Neill from the county, to actually come in and talk about the county's perspective on the project and kind of how they pick the different credits and how we went about finding all of the credits that we're going to use on this project. A lot of the submittals have already come in. I'm still getting submittals daily, so we probably want to start the process relatively soon so that you can kind of get an idea and a flavor for what it takes as you go through the whole submittal process and what it is you're trying to sort out based on the credits that we have that we're shooting for. So especially there are a couple of areas. Materials and resources is one area, because you're looking for recycled content and materials, and you're trying to get a high level for that to earn a couple of credits. You're looking at potentially VOCs in products like paints and adhesives, formaldehyde and things like particle board and OSB and things like that. So all those submittals are coming into me, and then I'm kind of going. The submittal process is a little different for a lot of the subs because, for example, the plumber didn't realize that he had to submit the PVC cement he's using. But PVC cement has a lot of VOCs in it, and the primer that they use, the caulks that they use, they all, a number of different trades use caulks and things like that. So anything inside the building envelope you want to make sure meets the LEED requirements. So I'm having to go chase back after them to say, hey, you didn't bring me these things, I need these things. So we're going through that right now. So I'll take you through kind of the cut sheets and things like that and how to find things too, because in a lot of cases the subcontractors may not be familiar with what you're looking for or where to find it. So in a lot of cases it's faster for me to actually go online and dig the materials up than it is to go back to the subcontractors and keep going through that piece of information. Once we get through the submittals, then we actually go into LEED Online, and we will actually go into the different credits, and we will document their uploads that you have to do. So we'll actually go through and do the documentation. There are templates that have to be filled out. Hold on, let me figure out how to scroll on this. Okay, so for example, if we go in here to and they just changed LEED Online too. So here's one of the forms, for example, that we would fill out. So there are a lot of tables that you have to fill in. So for example, VOC content, levels. You have to fill each material in, and then you have to actually put in the VOC content for that material, and you keep adding lines and doing that for the template. Network delayed. Okay, well, this will pull up in a second. So we then also have to upload the documentation, so we actually have to upload the cut sheets and put the cut sheets online. Sometimes you have to explain your methodology. So the innovation design credits that are some credits that don't really have any definition to them. It's you come up with an idea for kind of a sustainable idea within the building. They have allowed education programs to go on, for example, signage and education programs to go on. You can earn an innovation design credit for that. Well, you have to explain the whole program, so you have to write a narrative as far as that goes. Once you fill out all the templates and upload all the information, the project would then be sent to the USGBC for review, and then it takes them several weeks, and they'll come back to us and they'll say, okay, we need an explanation of what you were trying to do with that credit. We need more cut sheets for this information. One case I put in carpet but forgot the carpet adhesive. Come on. So they said, well, you've got carpet but no carpet adhesive, submit the adhesive. So you'll get an initial review back, and you go through and you correct those things and you send it in for a second review, and it comes back, and then you'll find out what credits have been accepted or declined. I expect the process will probably take, we're probably 6 months away from completing everything in the project completion, and then we'd probably be looking at another 10 to 12 weeks at least to go through the initial review and probably documentation. And at that point, we'd be done meeting, and then I just send out probably a message at the end with the reviewers' comments showing what was accepted and what was declined for the project at the end of the project. The feedback comments are very helpful. I save them for every project that I do, because then I can go back and always look at the comments from the reviewers and know kind of what they're looking for. I've done reviews. I did a project with Petra Construction out at the Air Force Base and actually went through all of the Army Corps of Engineers credits and wrote a whole synopsis based on the comments that I have from other projects, and we're able to actually direct the Army Corps of Engineers where they were wrong before we ever sent it in for initial submittal. There are things like with the LEED project for the site, since this isn't working, you can define any project boundary you want. So you can make the project boundary as big as you want or as small as you want, depending on like stormwater control, parking lots, things like that. So you can kind of pick your project boundary, but then if you pick that boundary, it has to be the same all the way through all of the project. The same thing would be true for loads for things like water use. So you have to tell the USGBC how many visitors, how many full-time employees will be in the building, so that then you can calculate water use from that and other things within the credits. So you have to, again, be consistent throughout the credits. That's one that I see get kicked back on a regular basis. So there are some things that you can do to track that and make sure that all of that is completed properly before you send the project in the first time, because it's nice if you can get it through the first time. Everybody seems to kind of lose interest. The subcontractors and contractors tend to kind of lose interest once they're done and they're only waiting for their retainage back. They tend to not really want to cooperate too much and go do more documentation, and it's a little harder, and that's why I said it takes about 10 weeks to get everybody back on board to sign in and do everything they have to do. So that's kind of the process that I saw, and I saw really 4 blocks. So we'd talk about the charrette, and I can see that being a fairly short meeting, and kind of the project inception, and maybe we could work on some of the submittals for the first meeting. Then maybe another couple of meetings while we work through the rest of the submittals and begin to do all the online documentation. The contractor hasn't done any of his documentation, so we'll get a real in-depth look at what he has to do. You have to track project costs. With construction waste, you have to track all the construction waste and the different types of waste. So you look at recycling, the things that are sent off-site and are recycled, and then you also have to look at the waste that's hauled away, and you basically build a table of all of that and document how much construction waste you diverted from the landfill and what the resources were, whether it's specific recycling for the metals or diamond recycling to hog up the wood, or you find different ways of getting rid of all that. So you'll see all of that process happen for things like recycled content. So if you put materials into the building, and we're shooting, I think, for 10% recycled content, you have to track by cost, and it's divisions, master format divisions 2 through 10. You have to track the cost of the materials in divisions 2 through 10, and 10% of that has to be recycled content. So we get cut sheets for each product that's put into the building, and then we ask the subcontractor for the costs, and then we put that into a large spreadsheet. There's actually a spreadsheet you download from LEED Online. We enter all of that information in, and it helps you calculate out things like recycled content, regional materials, which I don't think we're chasing on this one, certified wood, so FSC certified wood would be another one where we would want to track all of the costs and then track what the percentage was, and then we can figure out what credits we're going to earn. So that's going to be fairly intensive. That part of the project, especially as we get towards project wrap-up, would probably be, I could see a couple of, maybe 2 long Saturdays or something like that. And I also wanted to find out from all of you what's going to be the best meeting time. Right now I'm pretty restricted on weekends. I've got a project that I'm working on, and I've got 3 lead projects going on right now, so I don't have a lot of free time on the weekends. But that will free up soon, and maybe that's the best time for all of you to do it. So I kind of wanted to find out what was the best for everybody, and because I'd like to get as much attendance as we can for this and give you as much experience as possible. And then I see maybe when the project comes back from review, maybe 2 meetings, one at the beginning to kind of see what it was. I'd have communications with the subcontractors, and then toward the end, once I got all the information back, we'd go back to LEED Online, fix the documentation, and then I'd show you the process of actually resubmitting the project to the USGBC, so you can see how that happens. There are some payment things that you have to do in there, and some other little intricacies that you have to make sure you do right when you send the project back to the USGBC. So that's kind of what I see for the schedule over the project and the amount of time commitment. What probably do you guys see as far as best for you time-wise? Are weeks during the week better, like evenings like this? We probably do more evening events to try and get through all of the material. And I really want to make it good for you so that you get some good solid project experience and you understand if you get another lead project what you'll be facing in the future. Okay. 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 I'll have to talk to, because I work a full-time job on top of that, so that's a little tough for me. I could maybe do lunches some if that would work, but the other thing would be, like I said, the weekends would be the other time, and I don't know if that works better for you, Helen. Okay. 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 Well, like I said, I'd like to accommodate people, and maybe what we can do is a mix of sessions and maybe do some on the weekends and some during the week. And what I'll try and do, what I really wanted to do too, was I really feel the hands-on experience is important to understand where you're going through things as opposed to passively sitting and watching a video, because I don't think anybody gets as much out of that as actually having to go in and like research, for example, the Carpet and Rug Institute, and figuring out whether a product is actually certified by the Carpet and Rug Institute, and then maybe looking for addendums on the USGBC website to go, oh, hey, well, here's another way to find compliance for that. You don't necessarily have to have it certified by them as long as they can prove that it meets this standard and things like that. So there are a lot of kind of things I've learned after doing a number of projects in where to look for things and how to look for things and where to go to really confirm whether or not it's going to pass muster when we send the project up. Okay. And the two of you? Okay. Weekdays? Okay. Okay, Chris. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is best for Helen. And it also came up, yeah, evenings. It also came up during the day. So doing something like lunches, but we'd have to do a lot more lunches. It takes a little bit for everybody to get here. I'd have to talk to my employer to see if I could take a little bit of time off. They've been pretty flexible with me with the USGBC and things, but I would have to make sure that they'd be okay with that. And then we'll find out from the people that are online what works best for them and see the other people that couldn't show up. We had a couple people with flu and things like that that couldn't show up, and we're still kind of polling the other architecture firms, especially the smaller firms that haven't done a project, to see if they have anybody that would be interested in attending. So what we might do, Chris, is kind of a hybrid and do some classes on the weekend, and then maybe I can recover some stuff during the week.
And I could do it every night, 5:30. I had to, but yeah, I can't do it. Got the schedule everything right.
Yeah, I'm hoping I get a few things cleared up, because trying to do it every night, it would get to be quite a bit. I don't, like I said, I've got some other projects going on the weekends, so I don't get a lot of free time to.
It would be easier to schedule a few people, do that kind of thing, just put the information out there, but we'll see how it shakes out. But we don't want to miss, the chunk of the content. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday evening is more or less okay?
No, I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday during the day.
Okay. And then Saturdays, how do you feel about Saturday?
I'm good anytime before 2 p.m.
No, okay. Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll get all the rest of that together. We'll send out an email. I think we have everybody's email address, so we'll send out emails to everybody, kind of setting up the initial schedule. Like I said, I'd like to get it started for everybody's sake so that they get the stuff live, because like I said, I've been through a fair number of the submittals because the project's moving forward. So we will try and get something started soon so it's more valuable for you guys to look at the stuff that's still coming in now and kind of the process of what we have to kick back to them. And then, like I said, we can begin documenting things on LEED online as well. And I'll talk to Doug Cooper and see if he can bring the consultants in once we get a date confirmed, see if we can bring the consultants in and have them talk about the eco charrette and kind of kick everything off that way.
Yeah, George.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
So, sorry, I would just like to say I am having to work on my homework.
Okay.
Just that.
Okay. Well, that might be something that'll work well too, because I'm still trying to figure out how the online people. We have somebody from Eastern Idaho that wants to participate, and I was trying to figure out how to give people project experience that's real project experience, and not again just sitting in front of a screen watching me drone on, and or having somebody else up here talking about how they went through and researched the stuff. So yeah, maybe what I can do is put together some packages. I'll look at doing that and maybe put together the cut sheets and give you the indoor air quality plan, or give you a section out of the LEED guidebook, and maybe give you the guidebook and say, okay, here's some cut sheets. Now go figure out whether these meet muster, and you'll have to come up with an indoor air quality plan based on the guidebook and doing your own research online, and you can come back to me and then I can go, yeah, that'll work or not work. Because the other thing is I have an indoor air quality plan, but I don't think just handing it to you gives you a lot of experience, again, in creating something like that. So in some ways it might be better if I go, okay, here are the parameters, here's the information out of the guidebook, go, figure it out, and then I'll look at that and see if that would pass the USGBC. So maybe we can do a lot of homework sessions like that and do less live meetings. And the one thing I can't do really, since it's a live project and it's the county's project, is give everybody a password to LEED online and have utter chaos on the website. So that kind of stuff of documenting and some of the templates, maybe we can do some of those and run through some of them and give you some experience with LEED online that way as well. And then the rest of the stuff you can probably research on your own and develop on your own. So I'll work on putting some of that together for you for the first meeting, and we can hand that out, and then you can jump on that. So I'll put that maybe on jump drives and give everybody a chance of what I need back, and I'll copy some stuff out of the LEED reference guide that you can then use to develop all your ideas. So that's a great idea. I want to make this, like I said, effective for everybody. So if any of you have any suggestions, this is the first time we've done this. Please bring them up, because I'm open to making this a effective program for everybody. Any other questions? Chris, anybody online have any questions or anything?
I just on schedule, on that, but no other questions.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing would be, since I mentioned we're going to have an indoor air quality plan and a construction waste management plan. So if you want to be involved, the first thing you might want to do is start looking. I can tell you there are plans out there on the internet that you can find, so you might want to begin looking at construction waste management plans and indoor air quality plans. Nearly every project I do, they're on there because to me, it's a big sustainable thing. You create a tremendous amount of construction waste, and it's not that hard to get 2 credits to get the contractor to do 2 credits. Actually, on this project, what I did was I had Doug Cooper include the construction waste management plan and the indoor air quality plan in the specs, in the project manual. So the contractor, the subcontractors, everybody knew what they were getting into before they even bid on the job. So they can't say, well, you didn't tell me that I had to adhere to that. It's all right there in the specs. So go ahead and start looking for those things, and I will try and get this stuff done quickly, and maybe week after next we can think about possibly meeting. I'll talk to my employer in the meantime and see if we could do something during the day, because it sounds like pretty much everybody else could do something during the day, so at least we might be able to do that. I might be able to do that once a week for a couple of hours, start early and quit late or something like that to get enough time in the middle to make it work, because I think an hour is just too short a period of time to cover a lot of information. Think about it.
Toby's got a preference for Saturdays, which will be hours.
Okay. Well, it's beginning to sound like the hybrid model is going to work the best. Let me look at this and see if there's anything else to do. Helen, were you here? George, you weren't here. So Riddenbaugh Paramedic Station, you can't see it here, is the project, and it's a paramedic. It's Ada County Paramedic Station, and it's up on Riddenbaugh. It's just off Harrison. It's just west of Harrison on Riddenbaugh Street. So if you want to go by and take a look at it, they're doing rough-ins right now for the mechanical stuff, for the plumbing and electrical and whatnot. So, and actually, I need to run by there and take a look at it because I want to see that they're doing their construction waste management properly. Yeah, it's right. It's block behind Harrison. It's the back half of the block off Harrison Boulevard. So it's a real tight building space. It's kind of interesting for the contractor because it's obviously a very nice area and it's a very tight space. I mean, it is. They didn't tear down all the walls because they don't have the proper setbacks. If they started altering the walls, they would have dealt with all the setbacks and everything. So it's a pretty challenging site for the contract. Yeah.
Nate Allen, he's over in BYU, Idaho. I'm wondering if you'll have access to the spec drawing of the paramedic station.
I will send out a link with the Dropbox with the. I have to check with Doug to make sure because they're his stuff, but I'm sure he won't have a problem. And I will send you, Chris, probably a Dropbox link, and then we'll just send out or a Google Drive link, and we'll give everybody access to that stuff. Let's see here. Is there anything else? So is everybody at least a little bit familiar with the score sheet and with kind of the LEED categories and everything like that? Okay. Is everybody here at least a LEED GA? You're a LEED AP. Okay. No? Not even a LEED GA? Okay. How about online, Chris? What's their experience level? Well, what I was asking about was, one, are they familiar with the different categories in the score sheet? Because I'll post this also so that we all know what credits we're chasing. This with a LEED project, probably once a month I consult this score sheet when we do project progress meetings. We'll go back through and see how the contractor is doing, see if we're meeting our goals, so we don't get a big surprise at the end and go, oh, hey, wait a minute, the contractor wasn't doing construction waste management the whole time. It's a little late when you get all done with the project to try and document those things. Some of the projects, just if you're curious, some of the projects that I've worked on was the Ralston Group properties in the Veltex building. She did commercial interiors. I worked on Idaho Power has a Lake Fork Operations Center up in Lake Fork, and it's a LEED certified gold. I worked on the 36th Street Garden Center. That was the first project that I worked on. It's a LEED silver. I worked on a LEED for Homes project that's in western Idaho. I've worked on the Boise Watershed project. It's out by the water treatment plant on 5 Mile and Chinden. Like I said, I worked with Petra on the Logistics Readiness Center and the Ordnance Disposal Center out at Mountain Home Air Force Base. I'm working on Hagerman Fossil Beds. It's a built as LEED project. Right now it's a federal government project, and that's ongoing right now. I'm also working with LCA and Orman Builders. We're just wrapping up a project. It went in for secondary review for College of Western Idaho. I worked on the Treasure Valley Community College out in Caldwell with Petra. City Hall West I worked on as well. That's a LEED silver. I think that's a LEED silver project. And I worked on a project with Modus Architecture. It's a project in St. Lucia, the island of St. Lucia, and they're going for LEED Platinum. They actually built the project and then wanted to go for LEED Platinum, and I had the joy of trying to recreate all sorts of documentation and stuff. So, and that one has not been certified. So those are some of the ones that I've been through that have actually certified. I worked for Alicia, the owner of Ralston Group Properties, and took her whole project through. So some of them I've done from inception, done the eco-charrettes and everything like that, and then gone all the way through. Other ones, a couple for Petra, I came in and just looked at the project, and like I said, for the Logistics Readiness Center, I went through and looked at all the credits and gave a critique of what they had done for all the documentation before they sent it off, and had them correct several things. And then other ones I've worked for the contractor, like the project at College of Western Idaho. I'm working actually for the contractor. They were contractually obligated when they bid for the project to hire a LEED consultant, so they hired me to do that project. And Hagerman Fossil Beds was, the contractor had no experience with doing any sustainable building projects, so they wanted somebody, so they came to me and asked me if I'd help them with that project. I had been involved on a real high-level project with them before that didn't pan out fully, so they knew I had some LEED experience and came to me and asked me to do that. So that's a broad look at the projects that I've worked on and whatnot.
So you've got one PGA online and then 2 others with no accreditation, but familiarity with credit.
Okay. So everybody at least has some familiarity with credit categories. Okay, that's great. Then I will post this, and I'll talk to Doug, and we'll get the plans and specs posted, and then I'll break down some sections out of the book, and we'll work on the construction waste management and the IAQ plans. And we'll see when we can get a meeting set up. We'll probably send out a doodle poll to see what works best for everybody for the first meeting. And maybe, Chris, what we'll have to do is do one weekend meeting and one meeting. And like I said, I'll check with my employer and see if I can do one during the week. And we'll just, it sounds like there's a mix of people that we need to be able to talk about. It would be duplicating material. But I think Helen's idea of putting stuff together and then giving them lots of homework to do will, well, it's either you do it sitting here or you do it at home. And, I mean, you're obviously here to get the project experience, right? So, if you want the project experience, that's what it's going to take. It's what it's going to take to do it. And that's why I was so apprehensive about people being online and not being here is because, like I said, just looking at a screen doesn't make any sense to me at all for anybody. If there aren't any more questions, anybody else online have any other questions or anything they'd like to ask? Oh, I know one other question I wanted to ask. Is everybody a USGBC Idaho member?
Good, I've got one response to no. Thanks for the info.
Okay, well, let's check with everybody and see who's a member and who's not a member, because what I'm doing this for is for support of the chapter. So I'd appreciate it if everybody was a member. They have student memberships that are less expensive. You can go onto the USGBCidaho.org website and sign up as a member. So I'd appreciate it if you could do that for the chapter. It pays this guy back here to run the chapter. So with that, I guess we're all done. Thank you.